Hey guys, welcome back to JawnZone episode 3. We had a little break from Andre last night, but he's back with us and glad to be here. So
Oh
let's
yeah,
get this thing started. How you doing, Andre?
man, doing pretty good, man. And I mean, last night, I was actually celebrating my birthday weekend, so I
Mm,
couldn't really join you guys on JawnZone.
yeah,
And like honestly, a lot of drinking. Like, so I would
understand.
have not performed, man. How about you, Chris? How you feeling, bro?
Pretty good, pretty good. The weather's good. I got everything that I wanted to get off my chest last night, so I actually feel a lot better about that. Sometimes, you just got to vent about some things, but
Mhm.
like afterwards, it's like it's lifted off your shoulders. You know what I mean? Just
Yeah,
having you guys here in John Zone to be able to talk to sometimes is therapeutic, and I can understand eventually maybe we can even get some callers that call in to talk with us
yeah.
to maybe talk about some of the things they want to talk about.
Oh yeah, yeah. That'd be cool, man. 'Cause it's like
Uh-huh.
once we'll get that phone line up. I mean, if we get that sponsor going,
Yeah.
better phone will sponsor us. Yeah, I
Yep.
mean, phone.
Exactly.
Yeah, I mean, we're here. We
Mhm.
are here. So then, what you want to get into tonight, man? Like, what you want to get into tonight?
Well, a couple of subjects. First, let's highlight Brian Dawkins' jersey that you're wearing. Obviously, Brian Dawkins and T.O. are the two people that got me into following and loving the Eagles. I mean, we lost T.O., but Dawkins stayed with us and was just a machine. The jersey I'm wearing today is a throwback Sixers Iverson jersey. Funny story, I always wanted an Iverson jersey when I was a kid, but my parents thought he was too problematic or whatever. So they ended up giving me an Eric Snow jersey, and I just
Yeah,
never wore it.
yeah, that's funny, man. Your parents were the only people who thought that it was too problematic. Apparently, they actually made a rule for Allen Iverson.
Hmm.
Whereas, like, you actually had a dress code for players on the sideline when they were injured. So
Yep.
that's why in the NBA, that's why you see a lot of players like when they're injured, but they're still at the game. They're a suit and tie. Because I mean, Iverson, he had a certain style about him, but
Mhm.
they called him a Doug. They called him a lot of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah. He didn't have that many commercials or anything. People
Uh-huh.
just thought he was like a criminal because also, we won't go into it, but he had a pretty messed up past where he was wrongfully accused of doing a crime he didn't do, but that stuck with him. And I mean, well, hopefully today things have changed a little bit. I still think it's BS that they have to wear a suit and tie when even if they're not playing, they're basketball players. Like, why
Yeah.
do they do it? But whatever. Let's get back into the subject. So last week, I made a specific threat to the Jets organization. I said, stay away from our organizations, like stay away from our management. They didn't listen, Andre. What are we going to do now?
Man, what we're gonna do now? Well, I guess like the retaliation is that pay them this year. So I guess we got go in there and totally demolish them now because like they still our guy Joe Douglas. I mean,
Hmm.
Joe Douglas for the most part has been our de facto GM for a few years now.
Hmm.
Yeah, but like I think that they did heed your warning. So Chris, I think that we had to totally smash them and play them this year,
Yeah.
whether it's season or regular season, both.
And then after that game, we're going to come up on here and we're going to trash that entire organization.
Oh yeah,
Last week we mentioned they have 0 wins against us as a franchise, which is almost unheard of for two teams that have been around for a really long time. Obviously, the Jets won Super Bowl III. They've been around forever. We won the last championship before the Super Bowl, so we've been around forever. So
yeah,
that's how things go. So,
exactly.
yeah, we lost him, but let's look at some of our draft picks. And while I was initially devastated at this news, I'm looking over his draft picks. I don't know. Like now that I think and see what's happening on the field, and looking at some of these draft picks after they progressed, a lot of the picks were smart picks. They just haven't panned out yet. Almost like how we picked up Brandon Graham, and it took him like 5 or 6 years for us to be able to say,
Yeah,
"Okay, you weren't a bust." That's how like a lot of these players are going. So
yeah,
let's start out with. I think he started in 2016 for us, and he
yes.
was with that 2016 draft. Now this one is a little
2017.
yeah. Oh, really?
Yeah, 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 yeah.
Because I
Yeah,
thought he was with us. for let's see here. I thought he was with us for drafting Carson Wentz.
Carson Wentz, yeah, because Carson Wentz. I don't think he was with us for that. I didn't think he had like actual powers to draft then, because like it was that big power struggle between Chip Kelly and also Howie Roseman, but Howie Roseman was our GM for that time period.
Well, still, it's saying online he joined us in 2016 before that draft with Carson Wentz.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yeah, so he joined us as our vice president of player personnel in early 2016. Actually, arguably late 2015 is what it says online, just that he really started doing stuff in 2016. So I actually think that he had more power in the draft than was initially let on. If I were Jeffrey Lurie, I kind of would have been a little bit scared based on his track record and wanted some football knowledge guy to get in there to help. So I guess although like 2016 we did have a lot of draft picks, it's kind of hard to rate that entire draft only because we traded up a lot to get Carson Wentz. And when you trade that much to get one player, your whole draft is based on that one player. Doesn't matter it doesn't matter how many other people show out or end up bad or anything like that. If that guy ends up being the franchise quarterback, you can say it was a positive check mark in this draft because that's not an easy thing to get. So first pick was Carson Wentz, and then we got Isaac Seumalo. Now he had a couple of seasons of play. Is he our starter now? Like,
well, I think that I'm saying like Isaiah Seumalo is more of a gadget player, or he's more of a switch arm knife. Like he's not necessarily a starter. Yeah, but he can fit into so many different roles that we pretty much do have him as starter, sort like quasi starter. Gotcha. I mean, because like for instance, like when our center went down, when Jason Kelce went down, he stepped in at center, stepped in at right guard at one point. Yep, and he really has been a good gadget player that we can put in our offense in case our offensive line was down.
Okay.
No, so I'll say overall, like he's pretty solid for us. I mean, I don't think he's a all-star elite player, but I think he's been pretty solid for us.
Yeah, I would have to agree because you kind of need players like that. You can't only have all-stars on your team. You need role players that are going to step in when people get injured. Apparently, when Wisniewski went out this year, he stepped into left guard as well. So he's got versatility on right, left guard, center, everything. So that was actually a pretty good pick. So let's go to the next one. Wendell Smallwood, 5th round pick. And obviously when you get to the later rounds, it's more of a hit or miss. But just judging on that pick, I actually was kind of disappointed at Smallwood. I thought he would just break out and even have like a good season or two, but he hasn't come close to even reaching like 700 or 800 yards rushing in a season. So, yeah, not the greatest blocker either. I remember he was getting plowed over. We had problems blocking after we got rid of Selleck. Yeah. So, I think he was kind of shaky in that too. So yeah.
My thing is that with the Smallwood, I think that every player has a certain strength. I mean, if there's any strength that he has, what strength does he have? Because I don't really see it.
That's exactly what I was going to bring up. Yeah. He's kind of an all-around back that's not all-around good.
Yeah,
all around bad at everything. So honestly, he should have been off the team. I don't know why he was on the team for as long as he's been on the team. I mean, hopefully we get rid of him. Everyone keeps on saying he's a crafty guy that just keeps on sticking around. It's like, okay, well, we revamp that position now. So he's out the door. Okay.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, because he's not, especially he's not a power back, obviously. He's not. He doesn't have finesse, and he doesn't really. I think that every running back has at least one thing that you got to bring to the table. And Wendell Smallwood, if he were to just get traded or get cut, I think it would make no difference, man.
Yeah. He can't catch the ball well either. Occasionally he'll catch a ball, but he's not every down catching back.
No.
So nothing. Yeah. Okay. Moving on to the next guy. This one is a little bit controversial and hard to say. Halapolivatai Vatai.
Oh, sorry. So how to put a body batai.
There you go.
Yeah, how to put a body because
Vatai or Vitai. Yeah, Big V is what we'll call him here.
yeah.
So it's kind of funny. Whenever you hear about our fan base, a lot of our fan base just tries to sound a lot smarter than they are. So they look at Steven Wisniewski and they're like, "Oh, he stepped in during the Super Bowl run and he didn't give up a single sack, and he was amazing. So he's actually the reason that we're doing great." But like at the same time, Big V did the same exact thing at left tackle in the Super Bowl. He didn't let up a single sack against one of the biggest defensive gurus ever to coach in football, and I mean that was great. Of course, he had Jason Peters in his ear, but he did great in that one season. And now I think we're trying to move him into guard, right?
Well, I mean, because with how to put it by time, it's sort of like a misnomer, if you want to call it that.
Mm-hmm.
Because he definitely does have a place in the offense. When he does step up, or when he's given a chance to really step up, he does do well. I mean, especially at that second position. But that's the thing, though. I think that with us wants to keep with Jason Peters, which I really don't think we should.
Yeah.
Batai was never really given a chance. I think that if you give him a chance to let him develop, like he up at that guard or even at that tackle position.
Definitely. So that's actually a pretty good pick considering he was taken in the 5th round as well. So we'll call out of the 4 people we've listed so far, Wentz was good, Seomalu was good, Smallwood was bad, and Vaitai was good. So he's hit 3 out of the first 4 picks in this draft. So that's pretty good in the first round, you hitting 3 out of 4 picks.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the next guy in round 6. Did you ever hear about a guy named Blake Countess?
Blake Countess. I think Blake Countess was a cornerback, right?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, he was. And Blake Countess, pretty much what happened with him was that I think we traded him, got rid of him, and then I forgot what team he went to, but I think we actually signed him back this year.
Mm-hmm. Well, we had a huge gap in cornerbacks. We were down to like our 10th and 11th guys, so having just someone knowing the team was helpful. But was he good ever? No. But that's okay. He's a 6th-round pick. So hitting a 6th-round pick is like not really expected. Yeah. Moving on to the next guy, someone who's also controversial, actually, Jalen Mills.
Jalen Mills. I mean, look, this is my thought on Jalen Mills, man. I think that if we just keep him in the slot, he'll be good.
Yeah.
But I don't think that he really has speed to really keep up with the elite wide receivers in the league. I mean, because, for the most part, you don't really, when you see him defending catches, when you see them where he's matched up with the wide receiver and, they're in the same position. Well, I would say same position, but they're at the same point in time. He's going to defend that. But, the speed guys or the outside guys, they just burn him, dude. I'm saying I want to keep him, but I don't think that he should be our outside corner. I think that he should be one of our slot corners or even have him experiment at strong safety.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what
I was thinking we're on the same page on that one. So a little bit something extra about him. Keep in mind, guys, he was a 7th-round pick. And I feel like people think he's a lot smaller than he actually is. I don't know why, but he does look small in the field, mostly because he's always standing next to, Fletcher Cox or something. So, he's 6 foot. That's a pretty decent size for a cornerback. And I really do like the way he's lined up against slot receivers and even tight ends. He seems to be able to hold his own. Those are really hard positions to fill in, and he's done it great. Now, if we move him to safety after apparently Malcolm Jenkins is going through his contract problem, and while I think we should pay the guy, I can see our team trying to move on from him. Maybe we can throw Jalen Mills back there. But we got an overload at cornerback and everything, so I don't know. Maybe he might even be trade bait. He's a great player in the locker room. He represents our city well with the Green Goblin attitude. And honestly, I don't know if you remember, but even before he got injured last year and the year before that, whenever we got into the red zone, he turned into a motherfucking machine. He lit up like anything in the red zone. So maybe even just using him as like a red zone specialist,
Yeah.
because when he's on the outside in the red zone, they're not going to run 50 yards downfield.
Oh, yeah.
They're limited by the end zone. So that's like perfect for him. He could position out to become like maybe, an outside cornerback in those positions, in those situations, because, I mean, he's actually a true, I'm not even kidding, in the red zone. He's almost as good as a shutdown corner down there.
I always say that, yeah, man, because like when you can close the distance between him and the other wide receiver, like that's when he really gets into his game. You know what I'm saying? Like when it's close, or like if it's a short yards play, like that's where he really shines the most.
Definitely.
I think that overall, man, it was definitely a solid pickup. I mean, considering that he was a 7th round pick.
Exactly.
Exactly.
He helped us win the Super Bowl, so forever a hero in my book. Thank you, my dude.
Yeah.
Didn't we also, though, that was the next year. I was going to talk about how we got Corey Clement in the undrafted free agency.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think that was 2017.
2017.
So
because like,
what were you saying?
Yeah, because 2017. It's really hard to judge that right now, man. Because I think that a lot of these players have really stepped up, but I mean that's only like less than we were talking about NFL playing time a year ago.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, pretty much.
It's really hard to grade that, but look. Let's there's 2 other guys, Alex McAllister in the 7th round in 2016 and Joe Walker in the 7th round of 2016. Honestly, unless a 7th round pick ends up being good, I tend to not even count them because it's such a crapshoot. You can't like hold it against like some of the best GMs ever probably didn't consistently get 7th round picks that were amazing. So honestly, let's just forget about those 2 last guys.
Okay.
So out of the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 guys that we talked about, 2 of them kind of sucked, but 4 of them were quality starters, and one of them was a Pro Bowler, Carson Wentz. And honestly, I think Carson is working his tail off in this offseason to come back. He might be every bit of the MVP candidate that he was in 2017. Honestly, it's making me happy. Okay, so let's go on to the 2017 NFL Draft for the Eagles. Yeah, it's a little early to talk about, but at the same time, a couple players on this list have done enough to make us know that they were bad. We might not be able to tell out if Derek Barnett, taking the first pick, is going to be an all-pro. I personally think he's going to be a consistent Pro Bowler, and it looked like he was on his way. But
because I think that I think that for certain positions, it takes a little bit longer for them to really develop.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's not because like for instance, like defensive end, especially for us, really has taken a long time. And you see this with Brendan Graham, where we didn't know, but like now he's a solid starter for us. Yeah. And Barnett, I think that he's going to be a solid player for us. I think that it'll be his pathway will be similar to Brendan Graham's. Yeah. And that it will take a little development, just like any defensive end. But I think that he'll be a solid player for us, man.
Mm-hmm. Well, definitely. Yeah. I mean, if we get Jadeveon Clowney, who knows what's going to turn out in that room with the depth that we'll have. But right as of now, it looks like Derek Barnett, our first-round pick in 2017, looks like he's going to be the starter. And I can see this being the year he breaks out with 10 sacks. Last year, he started a tiny bit slow, but then he started to come on. Turns out he was playing injured and getting even more injury. Plus, we had a slew of injuries in our whole defensive line. So the depth wasn't there for him to sub in and out and be rested and things like that. So, I mean, he recovered the forced fumble that Brandon Graham caused in the Super Bowl. And if he didn't recover that, if the Patriots had recovered that, I mean, a lot of us were thinking that Tom Brady was just going to march down the field. So Derek Barnett, I'm going to give him a check mark right now. He cashed in.
I like that.
Mm-hmm.
I think he really cashed in on it. And for me, I don't think that my personal opinion is that you should not draft a superstar every round, right?
Mm-hmm.
I do say, nah, man, you gotta get the best, the best available knockout things. But like my thing is that if you draft a superstar every round, you have to pay them superstar money.
Yeah.
Because you want to keep a core nucleus together. I think that in a few years, Derek Barnett would definitely be a part of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Most likely. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And he's a pretty safe player out there. If anyone's wondering who to get a jersey of, he's a pretty safe bet. Honestly, I think a lot of retailers were like thanking God after Chip Kelly got fired.
Yeah.
Because think about that. Like, I didn't know who to get. My brother got me a LaShawn McCoy jersey one year for Christmas.
Yeah.
And like not even a couple months later, he wasn't on the team. And it was like, you know what I mean? I wasn't about to get myself a freaking Riley Cooper jersey or some shit. Like,
Yeah, exactly.
That would have been a nightmare. But yeah, Fletcher Cox, Derek Barnett, Carson Wentz. I can kind of see Zach Ertz being super safe because Carson isn't going to let him go anywhere, you know?
Yeah,
But,
Carson's trapped to him.
pretty safe people. So, okay. Who do you think we got in the second round? Do you remember in the second round of the 2017 draft?
Well, because, like, all right, so that's a little bit of stretch. I mean, so we got Sidney Jones. Sidney Jones was a first-round talent, but he got injured.
Mm-hmm.
He was injured. It was a ACL injury that he got. A non-contact injury.
Mm-hmm.
And, pretty much in the second round, like, he would have won in the first round if not for that injury. Mm-hmm. So that's a big bet. I mean, you really can't see how it's going to turn out right now because he hasn't really had a chance to play. I mean, he was injured of his first year, except like for maybe the last few games, where they just put him in just to get a little test of him, get a little bump. But, yeah, Sidney Jones, like, it's really – you can't regrade that right now.
Mm-hmm. I would totally agree. And some people, I mean, they think that we drafted him too high. And I don't think he would have developed as slowly if he had been so injured, is my honest opinion. So we got to give him a little bit more time to develop, although it is a crowded-ass room with a bunch of cornerbacks in there that are hungry. So who knows what's going to happen. Do I think it was a bad pick? No. But it looks like there is a possibility that it doesn't work out. At the same time, it was the smart decision to draft him at that position and getting basically a first-round talent. So we'll see how he turns out. But right now, we can't give him a check mark. All right.
I got you.
But looking on to his kind of counterpart, a healthy version of Sidney Jones almost, who did we take in the third round? Do you remember?
In the third round, we took Russell Douglas. Russell Douglas, and like that's the thing about it. Like, so Russell Douglas is really a guy who, as far as like speed goes, like he's not really a very fast guy.
Nope.
But he has like nice size, and also I think he's very versatile.
Yeah. And he's
a tackler. Yeah.
Like we realized that with what's his name? We just signed him, the Ronald Darby. Like he is trouble tackling. When we put in Rasul Douglas, we don't have that problem.
No, not at all. That's what I'm saying. Because like Rasul, man, like I said, just like Jalen Mills, he'll get burnt. Mm-hmm. But like he's very physical guy. I think that short yard situations, like we can definitely use it for that. Mm-hmm. I mean, Russell Douglas is about 6'2", 210 pounds. That's actually very good size for a cornerback.
Yeah.
And Russell Douglas, man, I'm getting a little bit of like the Michael Lewis vibe. You know what I'm saying? Like, you remember where it was Dawkins and Lewis?
Yeah.
I'm getting a vibe from them.
I can see that. Yeah. Like, honestly, if he, I don't know, just steps up a little bit. There's some games where the getting burned is the only thing that people notice. But then there's other games where he flashes really good play and potential. So maybe it's our fault as, defensive coordinator Jim Schwartz for putting him on somebody that he isn't capable of, covering, but still I think he's solid. So he's definitely showed up last season. I mean, it kind of made everybody else look so much better how we were decimated and on our like 10th, 11th, and 13th cornerbacks that those guys were playing so bad that Rasul Douglas seemed like a superstar. I mean, I'll give him a half a check mark right now. He flashes.
Check mark. Yeah, I like him, man. I like him. He's not. He's not like like I said. I keep saying superstar, but he's not a superstar right now. But it's like that's just a solid guy that I want to keep him there.
Yeah, there's so many drafts where we just draft people and they wouldn't be on the team in 2 or 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, the average career in NFL is only 3 years. So really no surprise there, man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, Andre, what about our next guy that we drafted? I'm kind of forgetting his name. It says injured reserve. What?
So
what's his real name?
IR. What? Mac IR Hollins.
Yeah.
Yeah, because Mac Hollins, man. We put him in as a slot receiver, man.
Yep.
And so Mac Hollins, we got him. We drafted him because one the deep threat. We did put him on the outside. I mean, obviously because wide receiver first year, but we wanted a really deep threat, and I think he has a potential for that. But it's really common with a lot of these speed guys that they're often injured.
Yeah.
Because of the way they move, or the sort that they're putting on legs. I don't know what it is, but Mac, I think that he does have some upside potential, but I haven't seen it yet.
Yep.
So, how about you, man? What you think about him?
I completely agree. When he was in, he had some nice long bombs that he caught. He almost reminds me of a little bit slower Mike Wallace.
Yeah.
Not like early Mike Wallace, but after his second or third stop. But he was still pretty good. Mac Hollins, though, unfortunately, we just stocked up in that position, and I can see him getting lost, and either at the end of this year or the next year, he won't be on the team, mostly because of these injuries, and we just need somebody a little bit more consistent. So nothing against you, Mac. I think you're a good guy and all, and sometimes even good players just go through these injury slews where it's just not fair.
Mm-hmm.
But, I mean, that's what happened. So, unfortunately, we haven't seen enough of you on the field. These things out of our control. I can't give you a half a check mark because of that, unfortunately. But I don't think anything less of him. He probably could have been great if he, I don't know, just hadn't been injured.
Yeah. I mean, because, he was there. It's almost like that ST father who he's an ST father, but he doesn't want to be that way. But the mom has something against him. So that's pretty much. But he could be good, but you just can't be there because you're injured. So Mac, you don't get a check mark, but I will give you a question mark because I think that.
There we go. Yeah. Actually, now that we mentioned the medical staff, Andre, do you remember what I mentioned about the Eagles and the Sixers medical staff last time?
Yeah, I remember that, man. I mean, because I don't know if it's a regional thing or I don't know if it's a Philadelphia thing, but our medical staff definitely needs to be reevaluated.
Yep.
I mean,
so I went off on them. Sorry. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I don't know what they're doing. I went off on them, and lo and behold, not even 2 weeks later, the Sixers, turns out they released 2 of their top members on their medical staff. So what do I have to say for that? 2 guys on the medical staff that ruined a bunch of our players. I hope you break your 5th metatarsal on the way out the door, assholes. You guys suck. That's what you get. I hope someone goes up and stomps on your foot. I hope someone goes and tears your ACL.
God damn, bro.
Don't let me catch you guys. I hope you missed the door and went out the window. Freaking.
Oh, dude.
They're hacks. They're hacks. There's no other way to describe that. You were fired because you are hacks.
Yeah.
So, all right. I got that off my chest. Let's move on to the Eagles again.
Yeah.
All right. So someone else that probably until this draft and off season probably felt a lot worse against our team. Donald Pumphrey. We drafted him in the 4th round. He started 0 games. I don't even think he really played in a game. I'm looking at his stats, and I just don't really see anything. He has 16 receptions or whatever like that, but for some reason everything in mine is just listing the receiving yards. But still, like, oh my God, this guy was a colossal bust, and there's no other way to describe it. He's slow to the point where he can't even get momentum to knock people over. He's not like overly big to just pummel people. I have no idea why we drafted this guy. Like he's definitely a college player that could probably on his college talent pummel guys or go through and get some tough yardage or whatever. But in the NFL team, just seems like a high schooler.
Well, I mean that's what it is, man. I think that for the most part, we look at the now pro free, like we were looking sort of for replacement for Darren Sproles.
Mm-hmm.
That's because like we look at it for measurables with Donald Pumphrey. But pretty much what happened was that what we expected to be Darren Sproles just like turned out to be, who was that wide receiver guy? Billy McMullen. Yeah. I mean, but like pretty much, because we like what Darren Sproles did for the offense while he could be in.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, obviously, I think Donald Pumphrey, he's a bust. I mean, I definitely get that in F grade.
Yeah, huge miss, especially because there were a lot of running backs apparently in this draft that were good. I mean, maybe not after he was drafted, but still, well, we could have taken, instead of Mac Hollins and Donald Pumphrey, maybe traded up to get somebody. But, like in a draft where, I don't know, let me just look at 2017 running backs.
Yeah. I mean, because running backs, like, it's my personal opinion that running backs are maybe the most expendable or the most like easy to redraft for, because like just so much of the offense really depends on, or should I say the other way around, like the running back success depends on the success of the offense. Where if you have a good offensive line, generally you can have a good running game.
Mm-hmm.
Or if you have a good quarterback, especially if the quarterback is like he has a tendency to run or he's like very mobile. They have a good running game because like other teams won't really expect it, and so like they'll play their defense a certain way.
Yeah, definitely.
I mean, running backs you can find value definitely in the later rounds if you want to.
Yeah, because in the later rounds, Alvin Kamara and Kareem Hunt were taken. Now, this actually was a kind of weird draft where a lot of the players were okay, and they just been dealing with like injuries. Like, look at Dalvin Cook on the Vikings.
Yeah.
And even Leonard Fournette on the Jaguars been injured. Christian McCaffrey, I mean, he's been solid, but I mean, I don't know if they should have drafted him that high. So like the best people that made out were the Saints with Alvin Kamara and the Chiefs with Kareem Hunt for as long as he lasted there.
Yeah.
We don't want to like condone anything horrible that he did, which was horrible. So, I mean, hopefully there's another alternate reality where he didn't do that, and we can talk positively about his whole career.
Yeah, it's a different universe, man.
So we could have traded up to get one of those two guys and just didn't.
Yeah, because like I mean, there's always generational talents. I mean, I say most of them are drafted in the first and second round.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's just like I mean, shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? I mean, we can't look at everything with hindsight.
Yeah. That's exactly right. Like we were talking about with the Sidney Jones pick. Even though it might not work out, it was the smart thing to do. And we're basing our decision on Joe Douglas. Yes, we want to see how some of these players did, but at the same time, we want to know that the decision-making process was top level, that he knew what he was doing, and it just maybe didn't work out for whatever reason. Donald Pumphrey isn't one of those examples. He was just a bad pick, and, I mean, we just want to forget about him, so whatever. Okay, so we got, like, a couple more guys before we start talking about a potential franchise relocation. Big news. Okay, so the fifth round, we took two guys, Shelton Gibson and Nathan Gary. Shelton was a wide receiver. He just recently signed back onto our, I think 90-man roster or practice squad after spending some time in that the pseudo league that we had, the AAFL or whatever they were called.
Yeah.
Yeah, I forget where they're called, but
I mean, because like that, I believe it was like the American football. Yeah.
Yeah, American Football League. Yeah. So like Shelton Gibson, I mean, 5th round pick, can't expect too much. Same time, he wasn't even good enough to make the team when we arguably needed depth at the wide receiver position. So not the greatest pick. Can you hold that against Joe Douglas a lot? Not too much. And then we got Nathan Jerry, the safety, who, I mean, apparently he's played in 23 games, but like I think I do remember he routinely just gets burnt. We throw him into the safety position whenever someone get injured or we just need an extra safety back there. And yeah, like he just gets burnt and kind of sucks. So unfortunately, he is not that great of a pick. So I'm going to have to say bad. 6th round, we have Elijah Qualls, but again, that's the 6th round and can't really judge anything like that. I mean,
it's like really going down south. He's with the Panthers, man. So I mean, I guess it's like not really of concern now. You know. Yeah.
Okay. Oh, actually, I forgot. I was jumping the gun. We do have one more draft to talk about, the 2018 NFL draft, because I mean, a lot of these players unexpectedly ended up being really good, like immediately. You know what I mean? So, like, oh man, like, okay, let's start out with Dallas Goedert. He was a 2nd round pick because we used our 1st round pick, I think, to trade up the year before. So yeah, Dallas Goedert, he actually showed out. There was a game where he had a great game, and when you're backing up an all-pro tight end and you have a great game during the season, that obviously means that you're worth something, because this guy, like, you're probably not even going to see the field, and he showed out that one game. I remember, wasn't there one game where they called like an offensive pass interference on him when he caught a touchdown?
Yeah, it was the Cowboys game.
Oh, man. Like, that game was so frustrating. We should have won that game because there was a bunch of things. I remember the guy pushed off on the last play in overtime, too. I think their wide receiver pushed off one of our cornerbacks, and that's why we lost. But
well, I mean, last week, Dallas Goedert and Zach Ertz. I mean, without the legal repercussions, I see them as like, Gronkowski and Hernandez. About the murder. Like, let's leave the murder out of that. Because, like, I mean, for the most part, I mean, Zach Ertz, he's a big dog at wide receiver. Yeah. I mean, sorry.
Basically wide receiver, but
yeah. He's a big dog there. I think Goedert coming behind him, man. I really like the fact that, we had someone else. Like, we have also another option with that type of position.
Definitely. So I think that's actually a great analogy. And let me take it a step further. I would say Ertz is kind of like having what's his name? Who's the guy in the Chargers that would
Antonio Gonzalez.
Yeah, no. That you're mixing up two guys.
Antonio Gates.
Yeah, Antonio Gates, because Anthony Gonzalez was on the Chiefs. So he's got like the athletic. Zach Ertz has got the athletic ability of a young Antonio Gates, like that kind of explosive ability. Dallas Goedert reminds me more of like a Jason Witten, a consistent, nitty-gritty, tough, like gonna get you catch the ball every single time, take it over the middle of the field every time, and almost a perfectionist when it comes to blocking. Like that wind and it's just earth and wind, but that's a great combo at tight end. Like, man, if one of them gets injured, we just have the other guy to step up. Like, that's crazy. So even though we already had a log jam, and Chip Kelly kind of started that with he drafted Zach Ertz when we already had James Casey and Brent Selleck, so that turned out good. So this guy, I give a check mark already. He came out and early on was showing that he belongs on the field. So check mark for me. How about you?
Yeah, man, definitely a check mark, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then, because if you have someone to compliment the pass, because like with the wide receivers they've got to share, and then Carson Wentz being healthy for the first time in years.
Mm-hmm.
I think that definitely countenance us. So I definitely get that check mark.
Definitely. All right.
Yeah,
So that's a good pick. Let's look at the next one. Do you have it in front of you?
yeah, Avonte Maddox. So
Oh,
Avonte
yeah.
Maddox is like drafted as outside corner. I say like, but he's so versatile. I mean, he do the corner, do the slot, he can do safety,
Yeah.
and that's the thing about it. Like, I mean, I think that he does have the speed to be an outside corner.
Mm-hmm.
He does, but like me, I see Avonte Maddox more because he has the size. So like, I definitely see Avonte Maddox and outside linebacker role also.
Yeah.
Where, yeah, I mean, he's not as big as an outside linebacker, but
Mm-hmm.
he's just so versatile. I think that he's, like a young Malcolm Jenkins.
Yeah. Because when
Yeah,
he had most of his interceptions, they came when he was playing safety last year.
yeah,
And like he showed out like as a safety. He was ball hawking. It was crazy. How many
great.
times, even when he didn't intercept the ball, he was just swatting it down or he was near the ball. So that was like, I always actually said there was two types of people after we got like Deshaun, because for a while I really just wanted a 1,000-yard receiver. And then after we got that with Deshaun and Jeremy Maclin, I was like, okay, now I feel like we just need to find either a late round cornerback or a late round every down linebacker, like one of those, like not exactly as good as a Ray Lewis, but someone who'll get you 100 tackles every single season, like a Luke Kuechly. So, like, I mean, I just like, how do you find a Richard Sherman in the 5th round? Well,
Yeah,
how did we find Avonte Maddox in the 4th round? I have no idea, but I'm glad he was there. Like,
yeah,
that was a fantastic pick.
yeah,
It blows
yeah.
my mind because, I mean, yeah, in the outside linebacker he could play, but he can even play slot corner. He can play safety. I can kind of see I don't want it to happen, but I kind of see us moving on from our 2 safeties in the near future because along with not paying running backs, I think it's within our plans to not really overvalue corners and safeties. So, I mean, he can step in for safety and looks like he might be an Ed Reed type player, a Troy Polamalu. That'd
Yeah.
be amazing.
That'd
So
be amazing. Yeah,
check mark plus on a 4th round draft pick. I
check.
mean, that's why I'm giving him a plus, because he was in the 4th round. But like, give him that check. He's a great future. Might even be getting his jersey soon. That says a lot.
Yeah, I see that, man. Because like, I mean, McLeod, I think the 2 years after 2 years in the league, I think that as good as he's been for us, like he might not be on the team for 2 years. So I see that as a great replacement for that.
Yeah.
I mean, we're really young. The young core already with Sidney Jones,
Mm-hmm.
Russell Douglas.
Yeah, even
And
Jalen Mills, and then him.
LeBlanc, which we'll
Yeah,
probably get to later.
I even forgot about him. Like, oh my god.
The man who was selling fucking hot dogs in the street.
Yeah.
But now we invite him in, and he just like did awesome.
Definitely.
But like, yeah, we definitely get to that more.
And then we even had Ronald Darby in there. That's why I'm like, why did we pay him? Because we just listed like 4 or 5 starter caliber guys, some of them who play the same position. So how are we going to fit everybody in there? Why did we pay him? What was it, $8.5 million or something? That's way too much.
Well, it's only for a year. I mean, because like, I think that when you talk about businessman, I think that commitment is worth more than money.
Mm-hmm.
And third in the context. So like, we have it for a year on a proven deal. We're saying, Ronald, if you're really a top-notch quarterback and you put up numbers this year, we'll give you that. Because it's always about numbers. But if not, we'll let you go and take our chances. So like, I think that's really what it comes down to.
Okay.
Yeah.
So let me talk about real quick my position on how you draft a 7th round pick. There's 3 things that make up a good 7th round pick. 1, if there's a log jam of talent in that position in the draft, like some drafts are more known for defensive ends, then maybe taking a defensive end in the 7th round will be smart because someone slipped through the cracks. There's just too many of them. Yeah. Another thing is if they're a project, like the guy we took, Jordan Mailata. That's why I think he was a good pick, because he has the measurables, just not the experience, and maybe he could have turned into a great like player down the road. Obviously now it looks like he might be switching positions or trying to, become a backup or something like that. But still, in the ideas of drafting a 7th round pick, those are the two things I've listed so far that would make a great choice for a 7th round pick. And then the last one, obviously, would be in case like you have a real big need at this position. Even if you've drafted somebody, you can still draft that position again in the 7th round to fill that need. So those are the three things that make up a good 7th round pick. Skipping over two guys, just so I didn't forget this explanation, Jordan Mailata is why I would give him, even if he doesn't even turn out good, just a check, because I think that was a good, smart decision to take him. What do you think?
That's what it is, man. I mean, because just like you have your definition of a good 7th-round pick, I've thought a few days myself. I think that, in the later rounds, man, you take chances, but you take chances on raw talent.
Yep.
So, what I mean by that is that, they say you can't coach.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And what makes a good 7th-round pick is, for instance, like if you have someone in a position, a speed position, and you really just want someone to be fast. Yeah. I'm saying you don't look at, like, for instance, like wide receivers, like you don't look at how they run the routes or their awareness or really their acumen for the game. I just said, look, man, this guy can run a 4.2.
Yeah, exactly. Or something, he may be like LeGarrette Blount, where he punched somebody in college, or TJ Houshmandzadeh, who punched somebody in the combine. So, yeah. Okay, so what were you saying? Sorry.
No, I mean, it's just that you look at the days you can't coach, and like you do an experiment to see if you can actually coach that and tune that to your team. I mean, I think that's 7th round pick. Gotta be experimental. There's no reason not to.
Yep. And I feel like a lot of teams, they overthink things. Like maybe they're not watching the college tape and re-looking at the combine or trying to find similarities in some other player that existed. Hell, it could even be like with Al Davis was just looking at the most jacked player in the draft and drafting based on that. Like they're not really going for educational-based decisions, which is what we've been talking about this whole time. On the whole, so far, I mean, we got two guys left to talk about, Josh Sweat and Matt Pryor. I mean, I wouldn't even really talk about Matt Pryor, but on the whole, a lot of these decisions that we've talked about made complete sense when Joe Douglas was making it. Even if these players didn't really pan out so far or didn't pan out at all, the educational decisions behind some of these players, I was kind of leaning towards – we wouldn't be so bad off without him because he didn't give us a lot of Pro Bowlers. He didn't give us a lot of All-Pros. Yeah. Even starters, he didn't get a lot of the players that he's drafted haven't been year in and year out starters every single year. Like, there haven't been that many. But at the same time, the decision-making was pretty good. And who knows, maybe some of these guys down the road will take over a spot when Brandon Graham, Malcolm Jenkins, all these guys get old and move on. So
that's what I'm saying. I think that when you're drafting, I said this earlier, but I think it's good that you're not picking all superstars. Because they will turn out like the Seahawks, bro.
Yeah, exactly.
It will turn out like the Seahawks where, all right, you pick the whole defensive superstars, and how you going to pay these guys?
Exactly.
Right? You had a dynasty in your hand, but then at the end of the day, you had a motherfucking hut that just fell apart after one Super Bowl. So,
that's what happens to the Patriots defensive players a lot. Like, even if they do draft someone who ends up being a superstar, we ended up picking up Patrick Chung from them, and then he went back there. Someone else picked up Dante Hightower. I think it was the Browns. And then someone else, the Arizona Cardinals, they traded for Chandler Jones. Yes. So, that's just his way he's been doing it. He's been trying to fill his team with a bunch of clutch role players that do their job well. So a bunch of players that are just really well shaped as opposed to the best players in the world, because I don't know, sometimes the best players do have those bad games or bad series where they just I don't know, they might have partied too hard or something. Who knows what happened.
Yes,
but they just don't show up. Now, T.O. played on a broken frickin' leg. So obviously, and he got 120 something yards. So that's not the case. But like, I don't know. Looking at McNabb, he didn't really have any excuses after going to 4 straight NFC Championship games and going to the Super Bowl of not coming in clutch at least one of those times.
Yeah, at least one.
Yeah. All right. So the last guy we'll talk about, we're going to skip Matt Pryor because, I mean, a 6th-round pick from a year ago who was a tackle, you're not going to be able to judge him now. So Josh Sweat, the 4th-round pick from the 2018 draft for us. What do you think about him?
Man, I mean, because like Josh Sweat, he definitely does have what you would call the measurables.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, but like that's the thing about it though, because like Joe Sweat likes to keep a rotation of the fifth ends.
Yeah.
And so with Josh Sweat, you know, like he's not really getting the reps that he needs to be effective.
Mm-hmm.
And effectiveness, like, is always based on persistence, man. You know, because like he can't be as intense as he wants to be.
Yep.
But we don't know how good he really is. You know, but I would like to keep him around. He definitely does have the measurables as far as athletics go. And I think that, you know, if we keep him around, like he'll definitely be a role player in our defense. Yeah. You know? Yeah, because like he does have speed, size. He can get after the quarterback. Mm-hmm. When he does get after the quarterback, I mean, you know, he's like, I wouldn't say unstoppable, but like he's eminent.
Yeah.
So definitely Josh Sweat. I'll get that check. And he's already been on the team for a year, so you just got to see how that works out.
Honestly, he reminds me kind of the story of Vinnie Curry and Brandon Graham, where they both were drafted, but when they were drafted, we signed like free agents that just took over the starting position, so they never got to be the starting guy, consistently show up. So, I mean, we kind of did similar things when we picked up Vinnie Curry again and then signed Malik Jackson and then re-signed Tim Jernigan, re-signed Brandon Graham. So, I mean, it might take a year or two before he does show up on the field like, you know, a bunch of them. I think that's a check mark for now. We can't say much more about that, but, you know, that's not his fault. And he showed up when he needed to. Okay.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. So that's our opinions on Joe Douglas. We've wrapped up every draft pick that he's taken with us. So, Andre, I ask you, how big of a loss is this?
I mean, I would say that it's not too big of a loss.
No?
No, I mean, because, like, while he did have some solid draft picks, it's not like he's been a long time, you know, member of the Eagles. I mean, don't get me wrong, man. I think that he really did, like, you know, he was really instrumental in, you know, getting our Super Bowl team together. Mm-hmm. But overall, I think that Joe Douglas, you know, he's never, you know, and I say he's only been with us for like 3 years.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, you know, I mean, I would like to keep him on the team. You know, I would love to keep him on the team, but I think that once he goes to the Jets, like, I really do want him to be very successful.
Yeah, I mean, I'm kind of conflicted. So what I feel about him, obviously we didn't talk about his free agent signings, which have been amazing, like LeGarrette Blount. Yeah. And then we didn't talk about his undrafted free agent signings, like Corey Clement, who was a Super Bowl hero and things like that. And adding those in, we can't add in some of the trades because I feel like Howie Roseman was more involved in those trades, you know, getting all these running backs, Jay Ajayi, getting who we just got in this offseason from Chicago, Jordan Howard. So on the trades and the salary cap, all that, he's not involved. But for talent evaluation, I'm a little different on your opinion. I feel like he's going to be a big loss. Although he might have taught either his next man up or Howie Roseman a lot of his philosophies. So as long as that's happening and as long as Howie learned, I think that is what's really going to matter more than losing him himself. It is a big loss. But if we can replace him and if Howie got his shit together with drafting, player evaluations, talent evaluations, combine stuff like that, then I think maybe we can move beyond him reasonably fine. Although, I mean, he was on the Bears before he got to us. And I think Alshon Jeffrey was there. So we signed Alshon Jeffrey when he came to when Joe Douglas came to our team. I can see them maybe either trying to sign the Jets, signing Jeffrey, or trying to trade us for him because we drafted JJ Arteaga-Whiteside, or I forget how to say his last name, but like we can take on from him too, and then Joe Douglas tries to get him on the Jets because he just really likes him or whatever. But at the same time, if there was a team for him to go to that I didn't have to worry about, it would be the Jets. Do I think that he's going to do good on the Jets? No, it's the Jets. They're the most dysfunctional organization, one of the most dysfunctional organizations in the entire league. Doesn't matter if you sign someone good on there. He's dealing with a terrible owner. He's dealing with a pretty hard market to deal with, a terrible head coach, and people probably chomping at the bit to just take his position or whatever. So, yeah, I don't think he's going to turn out that good in New York. I'm going to be honest with you.
Well, I'll be honest, man. I think that, with the Jets, like, there's been a whole entire regime change with the Jets. And I think, so for instance, like, they have Adam Gase there. Adam Gase, I think he's very good at evaluating, quarterback talent. I think he's good with that, but I'm not sure how he is as a head coach. I mean, because like Sam Darnold being there, Sam Darnold, he does have some good measurables, but he hasn't really had enough time in that system to be successful. Yeah. And a GM typically has about a new GM or even a new head coach usually has about 2 to 3 years to prove to be successful. But if he can't do that, he won't make it. But if he does, he will definitely make it there.
Yeah, I can see both. Although, even though there are parables between Carson Wentz and Sam Darnold, in that Sam Darnold had a terrible supporting cast his first year. Carson Wentz had Dorial Green Beckham and the likes of that to throw to. So he had terrible casts, and once he got a good cast, he showed out. But I see Sam Darnold and even like Josh Allen more on the Jay Cutler or even Mark Sanchez type, where they're not gonna win you games. Yeah, he has great measurables, but I actually think Sam Darnold, the perfect translation for him to quarterback is Matthew Stafford. Someone who can put up good numbers, but is he winning doing that? No. So I mean, also it comes into play where it's a terrible organization, so the pieces around him aren't that great. Plus, look what happened to Mark Sanchez. Most of the players were complaining that Mark Sanchez was literally missing some practices and things like that, going in photo shoots, losing himself in the New York media. You need somebody, I mean, I hate to say it, almost like an Eli Manning in that city if you're going to be successful currently. Or you need somebody who's just so badass or tough, like a Michael Vick or an Allen Iverson, some shit like that, that he's just on another level and doesn't, he's doing his own thing, and quarterbacking for the Giants or Jets is just like a hobby for him. You know what I mean?
Okay. I see what you mean. So, like, when you say that somebody like Eli Manning, because like what I see that as that you're saying that you need somebody that's kind of lame.
Yeah, mentally unshakable in any direction. Yeah. He's not going to get too high. He's not going to get too low. He doesn't care about his flash. He's not flamboyant. He's not wearing, shaggy suits or fur coats. He's not going out to famous sports games. He's not in Instagram with rappers or things like that. Like, I don't know.
So like you talk about like the Geno Smith situation.
Yeah, that's what happened. He got punched in the face. I'm telling you.
He was talking shit.
Yeah.
I mean, linebacker.
LA.
Because I remember that story, man. The linebacker guy. He wanted him to donate to his charity. But so he didn't, Geno didn't do it.
Yeah.
So, not only I'm saying, did he say no, but he was laughing in his face. But then Geno got punched in his fucking mouth.
Yeah. Well, it was also you missed out an important part. The guy had paid for Geno Smith's plane tickets to come to a charity event as well.
Yeah.
So he was like, "Hey, dude, can I get my money back? I'm not a quarterback drafted in the second round. I'm like a 6th or 7th round draft pick. Can I get some of my money back?" Yeah, I would punch him in the face too.
Yeah.
Nappy ass New York quarterback. You're making all this money, you can't even give back to a charity you said you were going to go to, you promised to pay for. Like, yeah. Okay, so that's enough to talk about. I think Joe Douglas. We're going to talk about our last subject. This should only be about like 10 to 20 minutes left, but something that we both noticed when we were sitting and watching the Raptors game. Did you notice how many, they're called, I think, Jurassic Parks, how many of these like little fan areas are located in Canada where a bunch of Raptors fans converge and watch the Raptors game on a big screen when there's like bars there and drinks and stuff? It's like a party event. Like if you went to Penn State, think of like a day social at a frat or something like that.
Well, because like you got to look at the at Canada. So like Canada's a country where 80% of that country is uninhabited.
Yeah,
80%. And like I'm saying, like population density wise. So, you know, so like when Canadian fans gather, there's going to be a lot of them. They're going to be very enthusiastic. It's like there's not really many places to go. I mean, most of that country is like wilderness, or you know, it's like covered. You know, it's like rural. Yeah.
But
like, my bad. Yeah, I seen it, man. And yeah, they call it Jurassic Park. I mean, or dinosaur forest, or what the fuck you want to call it. But like, yeah, they did it because, and they even got the saying, bro. It's called "We the North." They say "We the North." And it's like, okay, geographically speaking, you're the south of Canada.
Yeah, Toronto's the southern part of Canada.
Yeah, like you said, "We the North." So like, honestly, it's like they want to assimilate the culture or emulate the culture of the U.S. so much that they'll only put themselves in the context of where we're actually located. Yeah, you know, that's where they put it at.
So something that we were noticing is how many there were, though. And if we are sitting there and noticing how many of these Toronto Raptor parks there are, and we're noticing how big it is that the Raptors made it to the finals, even if they don't win, for the Raptors and for that country, this is like they just won the World Cup almost, or some shit like that. Like they're going crazy up there, merchandise buying. And this brings us to our NFL relocation subject. If me and Andre are sitting at our computers or watching TV, and we're noticing how many rabid fans are up there buying Raptors merchandise, even like cups for drinks, hats, you name it, whatever. And if we are capable of seeing that, you can bet your ass that the greedy-ass NFL is too. Now, the greedy-ass NFL doesn't always make the most monetarily smart decisions, but they're not like opposed at all to make monetarily risky decisions that could benefit them in the long run. For instance, moving a team from like St. Louis to Los Angeles, or moving a team from San Diego to Los Angeles. I mean, those are two situations. One kind of worked out with the Rams, but the Chargers fans, I mean, they're not even existing in Los Angeles. They lost their original fan base. Do they care? No, because they feel like eventually, in the amount of years, they're going to make up that money and then some. They will make eventually getting some Chargers fans. But even if they don't, it didn't stop them from trying that, which is what we're going to talk about right next. We've heard that the Buffalo Bills are considering leaving. Some people are saying that the family is too connected to the area. But let me tell you what millionaires and billionaires are connected to: making money. They don't care how they do it. They don't care how many people they pissed off to do it. They might even be thinking, since it's so close, Toronto being so close to Buffalo, and since a lot of diehard fans in Buffalo they might be thinking that you're not going to give up your fandom no matter what, that this would be a good move. So looking at the population, the biggest cities in the U.S., New York and Los Angeles, followed by Chicago. Toronto currently has a bigger population than Chicago. It has 2.9 million people in that. And that's just Toronto. You got to keep in mind, just like there's no other NBA teams up in Canada other than the Raptors currently, because a team moved out of there, there's no competition in that entire nation for buying sports gear. Someone on the completely west side of Canada is probably still buying Raptors gear. People that the Buffalo Bills owners are probably thinking the same thing. They want to tap into this entire country and be the undisputed Bills logo that's being sold around the entire nation.
Yeah, I believe that.
Nobody else is going to be buying Patriots gear, Eagles gear, all these other teams when they have only one team.
So that basically it's like what you could do is if you have a football team there, you have a monopoly.
Basically, a huge monopoly and loyal fan bases. Plus, Canadians are some of the most polite people. They actually made jokes about going up to people on the streets and they're video recording, they're smack talking, and they just couldn't do it. Now, imagine you're the Los Angeles Raiders or the Vegas Raiders, and you're sick of fans in the parking lot getting killed and stuff like that. This seems like a dream come true. Now, is Canada completely safe from problems? No. They have a big problem with how they treat Native American people, especially Native American women. So this deception that Canada is free of racism is just not true whatsoever. Canada also had internment camps of the Japanese back in World War II, just like America did. So I've also heard Canadians say, "Oh, we didn't do that." Actually, you guys did that too. So you guys are a little fucked up as well. But in general, they're really polite about it. They might be torturing you, but at the same time asking you if you're comfortable. So it's what the fuck, But I can definitely see the Bills moving. Teams have done this over and over again. And actually, I was going to look this up. I kind of forgot to write it down. There's 5 moves that a franchise does if they're trying to move. And I probably won't be able to list them all. But let's try to list some of them and see if that checks out for the Buffalo Bills. A, you have to have a really mediocre team for a while. They've made one playoff game in the past 17 years. That's terrible. Even if people are thinking that they're on the up and up, they signed a bunch of basically nobodies like Cole Beasley and some other people that I never even heard of, like this one tight end from the Bengals that never done anything. And he was horrible, and they gave him a lot of money. Why are they doing that? Because they want to have a team when they move. They want a bunch of players who are just trying to get as much money as possible so they wouldn't even be opposed if they moved out of there. Plus, I mean, who's moving to Buffalo saying, oh, we're going to live here for the rest of our lives? This is the best place ever. That doesn't really happen. People
it happens when you got I'm saying where there's business involved.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah. You know what I'm saying? Because the Buffalo Bills, Buffalo is only maybe about 2 or 3 hours away from Toronto.
Uh-huh.
It won't be, at least geographically speaking, it won't be a really big move for them. And then on top of that, that's when the NFL officially gets into the international market, if they do that. Because the NFL is only really confined to our country. It's only really confined to the U.S. But you go to Canada, you're international.
Yeah.
And then, because a lot of international, that is because the British Empire conquered so many fucking, countries or whatever. But when you get recognition in Canada, that gives you more recognition in Europe.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah.
So, okay, that's one of the steps to make your team move. It's an easier way to move if your team sucks, because then you can be like, oh, I'm just trying to start over fresh. That also goes hand in hand with the second step. You blame the fans for low attendance. Well, you made a terrible team, and now you're blaming the fans for not showing up. It's almost like a lose-lose for the fans. They can pay money to go to a team that's probably going to leave them no matter what, and they're putting a terrible product on there. But if they don't go, then that's more reason for the owner to leave. The third thing they got to do is demand a new stadium. Now, they do have an outdated stadium, and it's been proven that the city of Buffalo, in terms of hotel space even, they literally don't have the capability of hosting a Super Bowl. And if they're looking at Toronto and seeing how crazy it is up there with the NBA Finals, people are thinking in the NFL, maybe we can have a Super Bowl in Toronto if we put a team up there. So they say they need a new stadium, and then they demand the local government to pay way too much. That's completely unreasonable. These are billionaires that we're talking about. most of which don't really pay taxes because of tax loopholes, and the other of which are hiding their money overseas. I always hate it when someone's like, oh, they got to keep their own money, that's why I shouldn't pay taxes. They're hiding their money overseas. They're not paying the appropriate amount of taxes. They're basically stealing from the government and lying to us, and we're supposed to be okay with that. So those are 3 steps of why a NFL or what an NFL team has to do in order to leave. There's definitely 2 more of them, but I really can't think of them right now. There was this, I think, SB Nation had a video on it. So if you want to go check that out, they have a pretty witty, it's kind of funny, but at the same time sad thing detailing all these things that happens to a team when they're going to move. So let's list those again. A, your team is mediocre. B, well, it's intentionally mediocre. B, you blame the fans for low attendance or whatever. C, obviously you would need a place to move to, but you say that you need a new stadium and you start grilling the people that are in that city to pay for it. So those are 3 big main things. I'm sure I'm missing 1 or 2, but most teams that have moved have followed that same exact process. Do you see the Bills following that process so far?
I mean, because it does seem like a pattern. I mean, it does seem like they're following that process.
Yeah.
And it's just so much reasons why behind it. I mean, first, there hasn't been any tangible reports, linking them to moving the team, but it does seem like it's going that way. I mean, even though they've been there for, I believe, over 50 years or so, I do see them want to expand into the country. I think that it's in the best interest of the NFL and the owners. I think it's within the best interest of the owners because, if you look at the economy of Buffalo, and when you look at the economy of Buffalo, they had companies up there. They had Xerox, was in Buffalo at one time, and they had a few other companies up there where people wanted to move there for work. But I think that Buffalo is one of those American cities that is just dying.
Yeah.
And, the NFL is within the best interest of the NFL to move to markets where they'll be the most marketable. Because when you look at it right now, I mean, for instance, with basketball, you can see how popular basketball is becoming.
Yeah.
Basketball is an American thing that has spread throughout the world. But, you have teams in Canada that are in the same league. So I think that what's happening right now is that, it's in the best interest of the NFL and even the owner to move football to Toronto. And I think that, basketball and other things from America have been a conduit for that.
Yeah.
So I think that definitely, I think a move is possible. I think the move is definitely possible. And I'll say it's even imminent because, I mean, Buffalo is dead for a lot of markets. You have loyal fans up there. You got the Buffalo Bills Mafia or the Bills Mafia, whatever.
Yeah.
But I think what's going to happen eventually is that they are going to move out of that area. And the NFL wants to expand, and they'll be pressured by the NFL to get out of Buffalo.
Yep. So, even on to add to that, if you look at St. Louis, the Rams, I think the St. Louis area still hasn't finished paying off the former stadium. They're still paying for that former stadium. And the owner of the Rams is like, hey, I need money to build a new stadium or I'm moving. It's dude, we're still paying off your old stadium that you didn't pay for. Yeah. Why? It's just honestly, we made a lot of fun of, especially me, we made a lot of fun of the Buffalo Bills and their fan base. And I mean, kind of just deservedly so, because this is what they are planning. We didn't know that they were planning on moving, but the signs are there. I'm not trying to be mean to Buffalo Bills fans. I feel for you guys. I'd never want my team to move no matter what. That'd be a devastating thing. I mean, I can see a lot of Bills fans still staying with the team. I won't hold that against you if you stay with your team even after they move. But I can understand and I feel for you if you don't want to follow them anymore. So, I mean, we just want to send out our condolences to the Buffalo Bills fans, at least the ones that are cool. You guys seem to – I don't know if you've seen the videos, Andre, but they have a riot just jumping off of like cars and trying to break tables and things like that. So, I mean, they're a fun-loving people. They're not perfect. Obviously, every area has its problems, but like, I feel bad for the Buffalo Bill fans. I almost regret talking a little bit of smack on them because nobody really deserves to have that taken away from you. So we feel for you. We're sorry. We hope it doesn't happen. Does it feel like it's going to? Honestly, yes. There's a lot of predictions I've made throughout my life, and especially in sports, that end up coming true, a lot of which I don't want to happen, but they do. So, I mean, Buffalo fans, just hold on to your city as best you can. I wish you guys the best. Hope you guys keep on to your – I mean, some of the loyalest fans ever. You have to be a really loyal-ass fan to stick by a terrible team that doesn't have any Super Bowl wins and hasn't been to the playoffs only one time in 17 years. Those are true fans right there. Same thing with the Jets. They won a Super Bowl III. But a lot of those fans didn't see that. So, like, you got to give respect where respect is due. And honestly, Buffalo Bills fans, that's pretty respectable that you've been able to just stay with these guys for this long. So we're going to end it with that. Wish you guys the best in Buffalo. Hope that doesn't happen, but who knows? So we had a great episode today in JawnZone. Andre, do you got any last things that you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, I guess, like, we like to give a shout-out to our fictional sponsors.
Oh, yeah. The non-existent ones?
Yeah, non-existent ones. So, like, honestly, I want to give a shout-out to Can of Beer.
Awesome. Nice.
Yeah, no specific brand or anything. It's just that we want to drink, you take a can of beer. And then,
it'll make you make hard decisions. Just don't drink and drive. And, I mean, even Colorado, don't smoke and drive, honestly. I mean, people smoke, whatever. Don't smoke and drive if you're going to smoke. So we can't condone any of that. But we're proud of our sponsors, which don't give us money, but just help us get through the day.
Yeah.
So have a good one. Thanks for stopping by. This is JawnZone episode 3. Have a great NBA finals. It's probably will get out after the finals, but we'll see you guys hopefully next week. Have a good one.
Yeah, have a good one. All right.